I would look at things like, through tapes my friends had and stuff of like Mid-South and Mid-Atlantic. And I was like, well, this is interesting because like this is treated like a legitimate sport.
Yeah.
So, when this dweeb came on TV and was like, I'm gonna do sports-based wrestling, I was like, oh, this sounds like it's gonna be my jam. Like, oh, it's great.
Me
and
too.
then I tuned in and I saw a guy put his hands in his fucking pockets, and I was like, oh, okay, so this ain't shit. Okay.
Oh man, and they sold us the dream.
It was like they sold us this bill of goods that
bill of goods.
It was gonna be like, hey, we're not gonna do sports entertainment, but then that's not what it was. It was, oh, move over, Vince, let us show you how we do sports entertainment.
Oh,
like,
man.
You didn't want to do something different. You're just doing the same thing they do, and that's what people do. They're like, real pro wrestling, and I'm like, guy with hands in his pockets. That Bill Watts would have booked that. Like, I don't think so.
No, it's ridiculous, and that's what I always I say it all the time now. I catch heat for it on X all the time. I say, WWE is sports-based wrestling. WWE is everything's a big fight feel. The divisions are concise. We know who's chasing what title and why. In AEW, you go over, like, okay, if you come into WWE, you fight under WWE rules. If you go into AEW, you can be a CMLL wrestler fighting for a Ring of Honor title under pure honor rules, and they'll introduce you in kilograms and shit. It's just like, no, like the whole, like the UFC, they'll take a fighter from, let's say, Bellator or Ryzen, and then they come and fight under UFC rules. When the UFC absorbed Strikeforce, the Strikeforce fighters had to fight under UFC rules. In AEW, to make it sports-based, like what I thought it was going to be was wrestlers from all around the world in the indies being forced to fight under AEW rules. And I thought when they go statistics and Tony Khan's an analytical, I thought they'd be saying on commentary going like, John Moxley, his finisher is the Death Rider, and when he hits that maneuver, he finishes 80% of the matchups. But when that maneuver gets reversed, he actually loses 48% of his matchups. So he's going to really try to, like, I thought it would be like that, sports-based. And
and when they got JR, I was like, okay, well, he's going to be a real like analytical sports.
But he just didn't give a fuck. Let's be honest.
Well, look, let's be honest here. What happened was, anyone could tell. He walked in there and he was like, well, you know what? I think this is the way we should do things. And then he realized that this little putrid mock was ignoring everything he said and just doing whatever the hell he wanted to do.
And like Brandon Cutler attacked him on Twitter and shit as well, like being like, oh no, I don't know. He was getting bullied by the AEW fans. That's the other problem too we get, is that like the reason they get it so hard now is because they were dishing it out so hard, and they still do, and they push the limit. Like, Julia's not going to sign there, let's attack her. Oh, Okada might not sign, let's attack him. Oh, Mercedes might not sign, let's attack him. And then what happens when they do sign? Well, you just stepped on your own dick. And like, by leaking shit to the dirt sheets, you're giving people, like, Tony Khan thinks it's cool to leak to Sean Ross Sapp and Dave Meltzer. It's not cool to do that, because then you're fucking it up. You're stepping on your own dick constantly, and then your fans are so goddamn toxic that if you don't align exactly step by step with what Tony Khan's doing, you don't like real wrestling, and you're a fucking death threat, and you're a fucking Sean Ross Sapp, block you, then unblock you, then block you.
Right.
It's just like, we don't want to deal with this shit, and that's why they're getting it so hard now, and especially with WWE being so hot and AEW not being hot.
Well, and I think you touched on it right there with the fans and how aggressive they were. It's you see it a lot of times and I don't mean to get like this, but you see it in a lot of political movements, like not just in the United States, but like all throughout history, where you've got somebody that stands up and it's like, this thing that you love is broken, and I can fix it, and we will fix it together. Just follow me and we'll do it. And these people have so little going on in their lives that they glom onto this hope that this man has dangled, and now they're like, I will follow. They base their personalities then on it. They feel like they're part of a movement, and that was the problem from the beginning. And then they came out the gate and they were like, we're gonna take it to WWE, we're gonna compete, we're gonna be number one. And Jericho was like, we're gonna be beating Raw in the ratings. And that's my Jericho voice.
Jericho was like, Hashamna Huyao.
It's only a matter of time before we're beating Raw in the ratings. And there's a little preview of the Jericho puppets.
My whole shtick is Jericho as Trump. It's like, you know what, Tony, we're gonna do a show on a boat. It'll be huge. Trust me. Trust me.
Yeah, but so that's why they And then they started being like, we're going to get these ratings and we're going to get this and we're going to get that. And then when it didn't materialize, all of us that they attacked were like, oh, now what? And they're like, why are you people so obsessed with ratings? Like,
I know. And even now they tout the key demo. And it's
they tout the key demo until they don't. The key demo is everything until it's not.
Right.
When they fail in the key demo, then suddenly it's about something else. It's we start scraping the bottom of the barrel for anything. And that is the problem. That is why it's never going to get any better, because, they say it in Alcoholics Anonymous or whatever that is, or Narcotics Anonymous, whatever. The first step in resolving a problem is admitting that you have a problem.
Exactly.
The main problem they have is that Tony Khan will not admit there's a problem.
Exactly. And it's the same thing we criticized Vince for. Like, Tony just has his fingerprints on everything, and that was what was bad for WWE. One person having their fingerprints on absolutely everything. That's never the best thing,
But then the other thing is, though, like, Vince would never sit around for these kind of ratings. Vince would never sit on his hands while things plummeted.
Yeah.
Look, this is not me praising Vince McMahon as a human being, folks. Like, this,
you don't need to justify any of that to us, man. We know.
You'd be shocked because they're like, you're supporting rape.
I know.
Like,
we
what?
get it. We got it too. Yeah.
He was a guy that would be like, okay, there's a problem. We're losing people. We have to fix this problem. What do we have to do? That's why Vince Russo was able to rise up the ranks, because they were getting slogged by WCW. And he went up to this guy, and this guy was like, Vince, bro, I got the greatest ideas. And then he was like, well, goddamn, pal.
What was that? Well, tell me one of those ideas. I need one of those ideas really quick.
Yeah, and then he takes it to, he takes it to the creative team, and he's like, this guy's got the ideas, pal. We're gonna go this direction. And then that's when you started seeing things turn around. That's when the Attitude Era happened. Now, look, I think that Vince's main problem was that, and this is gonna sound weird now, but Vince's main problem is he didn't know when to stop. Like, you started doing the Attitude Era, and during like the rise of Austin and his title reigns and the Undertaker and Kane stuff, it was fantastic. And then you got to Katie Vick, and then it was like, oh, we've gone off the rails here, like Vince versus God.
I know. I'm gonna wrestle God in a tag match, and I'm going over too. Yeah. Get Kane in here. I want him to sleep with a dead body. Where's my son-in-law? You're gonna fuck a dead body. Yeah. If you don't do it, you're fired.
And I love hearing the stories about that, where Triple H, like, they're in the funeral home filming that. There's like a legitimate funeral going on in the next room, and Vince is like, like, and like Triple H is like, oh my God, I can't believe this man is real.
I know he's gonna puke. That's what I always remember. He's gonna puke.
The man's a psychopath, but I remember I went to a stockholders meeting a long time ago, and they used to be at like the TV studio.
Yeah.
And I remember, this was going back. You're talking like 2007, maybe like 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember he said, eventually our entire product is going to be here. And he held up his phone.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at him and going, that ain't ever going to happen.
Oh, dude.
Like, God, what the hell is this guy smoking? And, like, he knew in 2006, 2007 that mobile streaming was coming, and he was getting them ready for that. Like, that's the kind. Dude. And say what you will about him as a person, if the allegations against him are true, he's a terrible, terrible human being and deserves to rot in hell.
Yeah, of course.
But when you look at the business decisions he made, he was ahead of his time.
Revolutionized,
when it comes to TV production, yes.
But it's crazy how pro wrestling, like TV in general, like all sports are going to follow suit. My guy Hairline always points out, he's like, dude, say what you will about them doing shows in Saudi. He's like, but there's women on billboards in Saudi Arabia and pro wrestling, not just pro wrestling, but WWE did that.
Yeah.
What's happening, Pro Wrestle Times listeners? Phil Marks here, and I just had to interrupt myself babbling for 1 second to talk about Pro Wrestle Times' affiliate partnership with Fanatics and WWE Shop. That's right, you can get your favorite WWE Superstar merch, tees, caps, hoodies. We're on the road to WrestleMania, folks. There's so much at WWE Shop, and if you use our affiliate link below, not only will you be directly supporting your favorite WWE Superstar, but you'll be supporting PWT as well, and you'll be supporting your drip. Check your reflection, it'll look like perfection. And did I forget to mention, you'll grab all the attention by clicking PWT's official WWE shop affiliate link below and get you some digs now. Let's get back to the show.